Welcome to the Wealth is in the Details podcast. In this podcast, financial planner Peter Raskin helps families and business owners understand and prepare for their wealth journey. Along the way, thoughtful and detailed planning can provide clarity and confidence as clients confront a multitude of financial decisions. Listen in as Peter shares stories and insight into people's wealth journeys. Now, let's get into today's podcast.
Hello and welcome to Wealth is in the Details with Peter Raskin from Raskin Planning Group. Peter, I'm so excited. This is your holiday podcast.
It is. I'm excited to do it as well. I think it's great.
Yeah, I'm really pleased that you decided to do one. I'm not like you wouldn't, but I know your heart, and I know that the kind of guy you are, and this podcast today is going to be pretty fantastic.
I hope so. I hope it's a way for our listeners to get to know all of us on a personal level. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to it. You know, it's getting cold and dark, and this time of year sometimes it's snowy, but yeah, I think we want to remain as positive as we can, and especially during this time of year, it's a joyous and happy time. Mm-hmm. And I really do like the holidays, and this year especially, because I think we got so much to look forward to. And I wanted to end the podcast here with a message that's meaningful to me, and I hope to our listeners.
All right, so tell us what it is.
Yeah. So today, our focus is on the practice of gratitude, which I think is something that's so very important that we all think about on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to start this off by reading a few paragraphs from someone that I've heard. Her name is Reverend Susan Frederick Gray. And she wrote about practicing gratitude. So I'm just going to read it. It's going to take just a couple minutes, but I thought it was beautiful. And it said everything that I wanted to say relative to this. So let me begin. Practicing gratitude is a way of being intentional and taking time to name the gifts that surround us, to name what we are grateful for. This reminds us of our fundamental interdependence. When I ask myself what I am grateful for, I think of those I love and the people who love me. I think of those who have shaped me and inspire me. I give thanks for the earth, which sustains my life and all life. I give thanks for the blue sky or the rain, for the sun and the trees, for the wind in my face, for the life-giving water. Through this practice, we experience our fundamental interconnectedness, the larger embrace and web in which we are held. Now, a wonderful thing about gratitude is that it's concrete. We know what it is to feel thankful. On the one hand, gratitude is simple and clear. However, when we really foster a deep practice of gratitude into our lives, into our communities, into our cultural practices, we realize how incredibly powerful it is. Gratitude is a concrete practice that unlocks a generosity of spirit and a generosity of love, experiencing our interconnectedness, experiencing the ways that we are not isolated beings, but deeply connected and held by gifts beyond our own making. This inspires us to nurture more attention and care into those connections.
Oh, that was powerful.
I thought it was. You know, what I love about it is that being grateful should be something that we work on year round, not just during the holidays. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes it's hard to do, but just like anything else that we practice, you know, whether it's exercise or diet or the work that we do, doing it consistently makes it better and more meaningful. And so to me, being grateful is about being mindful about the moment we're in right now. It's about how we're feeling. It's not so much about yesterday or tomorrow. You know, when we're dwelling on the past or we're focused on the future, we're not really present. Mm-hmm. And being grateful, I think, keeps you focused on the moment that we're in. It's also a positive feeling. And being positive, especially with the barrage of things that we're hearing and sometimes experiencing, is hard sometimes to do. And so I think it's something that we just have to work on. So being positive is a part of this practice. And it is easy to focus on the past, our sorrows, our concerns, our fears. I've said this before. You've heard me say that the feelings of loss, the pains that we experience, we feel more powerfully than we often feel the pleasure and joys of all the wonderful and good things that happen.
Yeah, I agree 100%, Peter. I think that one of the key things you said there is that it's a positive feeling. Being grateful is a positive feeling. And I truly believe what you alluded to, it's a muscle that you have to exercise. As you practice gratitude, you get better at it. You get stronger in being grateful, which sounds silly, but you really do. You get stronger in being grateful, which keeps you more positive than negative. And I think that's something that all of us need a reminder, especially, again, it's easy this time of year, but throughout the year of doing that. So I agree.
Yeah. That's the way I feel as well. I also like what Reverend Gray has to say about our interconnectedness. Mm-hmm. When we're connected, our burdens are lighter and our joys are held up by others. And with that in mind, I thought it'd be wonderful if we shared with our listeners what makes us grateful here at the Raskin Planning. And what I'd like to do is talking to the folks that I'm so grateful for, which is my staff, the people that work at the Raskin Planning Group. And I'm so grateful that they truly care for our clients and they work so hard every day. So today we're going to be talking with Katherine, with Alexander, with Brian and Connor. And I'll be asking them to share with us their thoughts about gratitude and specifically what they're grateful for. And I'm hopeful they'll tell us what they're grateful for from a business perspective as well as from a personal perspective. So how does that sound, Eric?
That sounds amazing. This is going to be fun.
I think so. Yeah, I this is one of my blessings that I have wonderful people that surround me, and that includes you and these folks that we'll be chatting with today.
Well, I appreciate that.
So let's start with Katherine.
All right.
So Katherine, thanks so much for sharing with us what you're grateful for. So I'm going to ask you two questions. One is the first one is just from a business perspective. What are you most grateful for this season and over the last year?
This year, I think what I'm most grateful for is Calendly. Everybody has strengths and weaknesses. And one of my weaknesses is scheduling. So I love that now I can just send a link to your calendar to clients. And in addition to simplifying meeting scheduling, it's also helped our clients move forward with financial plan updates. Since it's easier to schedule a meeting, we're getting more people meeting with you. And so I like to be able to work on financial plans, and Calendly's help that.
Yeah, I think it's the best thing since sliced bread. I think it's a great technology and tool. So it's great. So thank you for being grateful for that. And more importantly than the being grateful for business from a business perspective, how about personally? What are you most grateful for personally? I think I'm so glad you've been with me for these many years, and I hope you can that our listeners will get to know you a little bit more.
Oh, sure. So personally, I am most grateful that my family is going to be moving back to the East Coast. My mother moved to Albany in September, and my sister and her family will be moving early next year. And I'm so glad they'll be within driving distance. They live in Indiana right now.
Yeah, just having family within driving distance is just so much easier to see them. And mm-hmm. That's so important. So you're very, very lucky.
Yes, I feel very lucky.
Well, thank you very much for sharing. And now I'd like to have Alex talk to us about what he's grateful for. So, Alex, thanks for speaking with us about what you're grateful for. And I'm going to be asking you basically two questions around what you're grateful for, but one around your from a business perspective and the other from a personal. So let's start with from a business standpoint. What are you most grateful for?
I'd have to say probably the ability to go as paperless as possible since I've started working with you guys. I know that when I first started working with you guys, it was DocuSign really hadn't come along yet, not in Lincoln, which I was a little surprised about. But over the last couple of years, we have made that transition pretty fully. I don't have to do a lot with paper anymore. And there's a few programs that, went into that, but one of the biggest ones was DocuSign, which I mentioned a moment ago. It cuts down on having to print out hundreds of pages, flag them, highlight them, mail them out, wait for them to come back. So there's a time aspect that really improves. And then there's also a workload aspect, because you reduce the time, you reduce the amount of work for everyone, not just me, but also for the client. They don't have to flip through that multiple hundreds of pages for applications anymore. And it greatly increases the accuracy and reduces the stress on my side and reduces the time for applications to be completed and the work that everyone has to put into it. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, it's one thing with COVID, it pushed the whole industry, the whole financial services industry to be more efficient. And DocuSign, which is a way to send and get signatures virtually, is just such a fantastic technology. And we think our clients, once they understand how it works and get used to it, they really, really appreciate it. So thanks for mentioning that. Yeah. Let's from a personal perspective, which is so important for our listeners to get to know you. What are you most grateful for?
As cliche as it might sound, I have to say that I'm most thankful for the people around me. I got the family that's really close, as you know. I got the love and support from the family unit. My parents and my two siblings we all like to hang out, and my sister lives nearby, and my brother invites me down for drinks all the time, and my parents come up to visit, and we like to see each other as much as we possibly can, because we're just one of those weird families that's pretty close. And I got friends that stay in touch after we all graduated from undergrad, many of who live here in Boston. So I get to see them pretty frequently. Me and my best friend, who I was direct roommates with for years in undergrad, and then for a few years after we graduated, we've challenged each other to a gingerbread house baking competition that I'm looking forward to. And, I'm seeing someone who I'm quite fond of, and maybe this isn't the most important of all. I think the family has to be most important of all, but still pretty important is the people that I work with. You, Katherine, Brian, Connor, and Dorothy and Eric, they're around, but I don't work with them directly per se, but, I spend 8 hours a day, 5 days a week with you guys at times a stressful job. And not only are you guys dependable, but you're socially enjoyable. And I think it was my dad who was telling me not too long ago that, 80 or 90% of people who leave their job do so because of the people that they work with. So it's quite important to have that, to have people you like to work with because you have to spend so much time with them every day anyway. And I feel that this is especially important because the world right now is going through a rough spot. And I like to keep my nose in the know. As you know, I like to keep up with the local and the world news. And maybe that's just because I'm a masochist who likes to feel bad about everything all the time. But, not a lot of the news right now is good news. And when the ship is heading through rough waters, having a good cruise company you enjoy and you can depend on really helps you get through the other side. So as cliche as the answer is, I have to say it's the people.
Well, it's not, I don't think it's cliche from a negative perspective. I think it's all about the people.
Yeah.
That's what we do. That's
Absolutely.
why we do what we do is for the people we love and for our clients that we work for. And it's nice to have fun doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
and I must say, I've met your folks and met your brother virtually, and you do have a fun family.
I love them. I absolutely.
You're very
love
lucky
them.
in that way.
Yeah, I feel lucky.
Great. Hey, Alex, thanks so much for sharing with us.
Of course.
Really appreciate it.
Of course. Happy to be here.
Now I'd like to chat with Brian. Brian, if you think about the recent past from a business perspective, what are you most grateful for?
I would say definitely over the past year and a half, I'm most grateful for our clients. I think it's been a challenging year for so many people over the past year and a half or so. And I know our clients have adjusted along with us, and they've definitely been learning with us, and they've been more than patient. So definitely been appreciative of that.
Yeah, they have been really so resilient and understanding. Mm-hmm. We have had challenges, which is normal for a service firm in the midst of a global pandemic.
Right.
So, but yes, our clients, we should be very grateful for their patience and understanding, and certainly their trust and in their business. So exactly. Thanks for saying that.
Yeah.
Now, from a personal perspective, I'm so grateful that you've been sitting at your desk at the Raskin Planning Group for a couple of years now. So, but hopefully our listeners will get to know you a little bit more. What are you most grateful for?
So I thought about this one for a while, actually, and I have many things to be grateful for, but I would have to say definitely my family. As you know, Peter, I've been taking night classes. I'm going for my master's degree. So I have a few late nights every week, and I'm lucky enough to have my mom at home preparing dinners for me to pack up and bring with me. So when I'm sitting in the office at 10 o'clock at night, I'm not hungry. And along with that, just the support I have coming home every day to them, asking about my day, asking about school, just knowing I have them and their support's been a lot.
Yeah, I've not met your family, but I can tell how important they are to you, and it's really wonderful. And your sister has your sister's daughter's now about 18 months. Is that about right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. And you are just the best uncle to her. So I'm sure they're very grateful for you as well.
Yeah. Yeah. We definitely love having her around.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that picture you shared during Halloween where you scared her
She'll appreciate it.
Yeah. At her wedding.
Exactly. One day she'll appreciate it.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing, Brian. I'm certainly grateful that you've been working here, and mostly I love hearing about your personal stories about what's going on in your world, and just amazed how hard you do work, not just here but in your ongoing educational pursuits and the work that you do at home as well, because I know you're real helpful there. So
yes, thank you.
Yeah, good. Well, let's now talk to Connor. So Connor, thanks for sharing with us today what your what you're grateful for. And not all of our listeners know you. You've been working for us for about a year now, almost a year, I think, as an intern. So you're a student at Suffolk University, and we've had, for the last 10 to 12 years, fantastic experiences with the Suffolk students working for us, and they really do real work and very, very important to our overall practice. So I'm grateful that you're here. But from a business perspective, what are you most grateful for?
I'm most grateful, first off, to have the team that you have. They're all really accepting. They're all true to themselves, and they really help me through any challenges that I have. And to just get real work experience as an internship is more than I could ever ask for.
Well, you are so dependable and interested, and you're asking great questions, and your retention is fantastic. So we teach you something once, and we don't have to teach you again. So it's really so appreciated. So thank you.
No, thank you.
So our listeners can get to know you from a personal perspective. What are you most grateful for?
I'm most grateful for the friends and the family that I have. They all love me very much, and I could see in the way they act around me that the way they talk to me, they always check in on me. I always check in on them, and we really show gratitude towards each other without even just saying it, but in the way we do actions for each other. And I'm very, very grateful for how that is working.
So not only do they tell you they love you, but they show you that they love you.
Yes, whether it's minimal or not, you could easily tell that they do.
Yeah, that's really nice. Thanks for sharing that with us. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Connor.
Yeah, thank you.
And Eric, I'd like to hear what you're most grateful for.
Well, I'll take it in those same two steps that you were just talking about, Peter, business and then personal. Business, I don't want it to sound too cliche, like we've already said multiple times on this, but I'm very, very thankful for my clients. And there's a very specific way that I'm thankful. You know as well as I do, as business owners, when you first start out and when you get established, you take pretty much any client that comes your way, right? You're happy that you have a client. But what I'm really grateful for, Peter, is that I get to work with the clients I want to work with. Every client that I work with they're fantastic. They have good hearts. They're good people. They're not just out there to grind and make money just because they want to take over the world. They want to give back. Their family, their family is important to them. Their communities are important to them. And this is probably the first time in my life that I've been able to say every one of my clients is somebody that I truly enjoy and love working with, and I respect as a human being because they're so positive and amazing.
That's great.
That's business, right?
Yeah.
And you're included obviously in that, and I also and it would include you in as a friend as well. But on a personal level, I think what I'm most grateful for is, especially coming out of this last couple of years, is that at this moment and for this entire year, these last 2 years, my family's healthy. My parents are healthy. My wife, my children, my grandchildren are all healthy. And it's not always the case. I know a lot of people have lost people in these last couple of years. I have not experienced that in my immediate family or my close family or friends. And so I am very grateful for that.
Yeah, we have so much to be thankful for, and health is so vitally important. So thanks for sharing with us, Eric. You've been a great friend. And what's that?
You know I'm not going to let you off the hook, right?
Right. No, I expect the same.
Good. Here we go. Peter, I want to know, what are you grateful for? And same two things, business-wise and then personal.
Yeah, there's no such thing as far as being grateful. You can't speak in cliches because it's just all from your heart, right? Mm-hmm. And for me, I think of community, and I think about variety of communities. My answer is going to be both business and personal, but I think about it as circles. So think about each community as a circle, but they all interconnect. In the introduction, I talked about the interconnectedness that we all. What gratitude does is it brings that out, and I was thinking about how important that is to me personally, and how grateful I am for all the different communities. So the biggest circle for me is certainly my family, my wife and my 3 fantastic kids. I'm blessed. My 92, almost 93-year-old dad is still with us, and I've got a wonderful sister, and so that's my immediate family. In that next circle are my friends. These are really deep relationships that I've had for many years. Many of them I've known since elementary school, and that's just so important to me. And I'm so grateful that they continue to be in my world and in my life. So family, friends, those 2 circles. And then I think about a larger community, which is really from our community in Sharon, Massachusetts, where we live, and our connections there. And most of our connections, frankly, in Sharon are part of our religious community. And that's just an important part of our world and many of our friends. And it's just a really important part of our lives. And they hold us up. And so I'm super grateful for them. And then from a business perspective, I've got the immediate people that work at the Raskin Planning Group, Katherine, Alex, Brian, Connor. You're a great support. But yes, I'm very thankful for them. But then we have business partners. I'm affiliated with a national organization, and we get lots of support from them. And I can't tell you how thankful I am for them. And I've developed over 37 years in the business, tremendous business relationships that I feel grateful for. And then from a business perspective, most importantly, I'm so thankful and grateful for our clients who just, I get so much pleasure in serving and helping and finding out about their world and helping them meet their objectives. It really, truly makes me happy. And I'm grateful for that. Grateful that I've been able to find a profession that I feel so passionately about and really do enjoy and love. And because I like people, and so I'm grateful for all of those circles, all of those communities that I've been able to be involved in over my lifetime. And that's what I'm grateful for.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I do want to say something to the audience. If you are just joining this podcast, or maybe you've just heard a couple podcasts, this is Peter in a nutshell right here. He is joyful every time we get together. He brings an energy to me and to our team, which is just fantastic. But this is not just, he's just not talking. This is truly who he is, joyful and always so gracious. So Peter, thank you so much for bringing this podcast to the audience, the education that you bring to them and to me, of course. I really appreciate it. And I want to say one more thank you, and that's to you, the listening audience. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to the Wealth is in the Details podcast with Peter Raskin. If you have not subscribed to the podcast yet, please click the subscribe now button below. This way, when Peter comes out with a new podcast, it'll show up directly on your listening device. This makes it really easy to share these podcasts with your friends and family. Again, thank you so much for listening today. For everyone at Raskin Planning Group, this is Eric Johnson reminding you to live your best day every day, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Wealth is in the Details podcast. Click the subscribe button below to be notified when new episodes become available. The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of Lincoln Financial Advisors Corporation. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional investing advice. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified financial service provider with any questions you may have regarding your investment planning. Peter Raskin is a registered representative of Lincoln Financial Advisors, Securities offered through Lincoln Financial Advisors Corporation, a broker, dealer, member SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through SageMark Consulting, a division of Lincoln Financial Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance offered through Lincoln affiliates and other fine companies. Raskin Planning Group is not an affiliate of Lincoln Financial Advisors. Lincoln Financial Advisors Corporation and its representatives do not provide legal or tax advice. You may want to consult a legal or tax advisor regarding any legal or tax information as it relates to your personal circumstances.